anywhere for the next 400 years. Plastic really is ubiquitous. It's in food packaging, it's in building materials on planes and cars, it's in...
Where is it? Where is the fucking... In the first 2 minutes? Like, the entire 2 minutes they show it? Hold on, let me just look real quick. I'm at 20. Oh. I mean, I don't know if they would fucking ban for that, but I'm just gonna make sure. There are some dildos in there, yes.
And it's in this strap-on thigh dildo. Just imagine a world before plastics when your femur penis would have to be made from wood or, if you're wealthy enough, ivory. It doesn't bear...
By the way, I literally paused it at the perfect time.
...thinking about. But for almost as long as plastics have been around, there's been the question of what to do with them after they're used. A question that any number of creepy recycling mascots have tried to answer, from the recycling wizard in South Carolina to Recycling Ben from Georgia to Muncie, Indiana's Mr. Blue, who appears to be either a bag of recycling or an asphyxiated sausage, to my absolute favourite, Totes My Goats.
The popular social media news site Mashable writes of Niagara Falls' terrifying new recycling mascot and horrific goat-man hybrid.
Sure, yeah, and you know what? I've seen children cry at the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus as well. But our target market isn't a 3- and 4-year-old. Of course, it's someone who's learning about the environment. So middle school, teenagers, people who maybe aren't so afraid of goats and clowns.
Well, hang on. Who said...
Okay, that looks like a fucking satanic thing, dude. That literally... That is the creepiest, most, like, satanic, ritualistic fucking character that you could have come up with. Absolutely ridiculous to do that. Mind-boggling.
anything about clowns. No one would ever mistake that thing for a clown. I know we've been tough on clowns in the past. They're weird, scary, not funny, and they eat children. But credit where it's due, they do put in the work. You think a look this fresh just comes together? Of course not. The guy clearly made an effort. He didn't just Google rubber goat mask.
Give your plastics to the Dark Lord. Give your plastics to the Dark Lord. Give me all of your plastics. Give your plastics to Baphomet.
Cheap and buy the first result, which incidentally seems to be the exact mask that that fucked up goat is wearing. And we have produced a lot of plastic for all those mascots to recycle. Since plastic's introduction, production has skyrocketed to 380 million tons in 2015. In fact, half of all plastics ever made have been produced since 2005. And for all the hype about recycling, a lot less plastic winds up getting recycled than you might think. Less than 9% of the plastics generated are recycled in the United States, with the vast majority ending up in landfills or in the environment. But before you start blaming yourself or your neighbours for not sorting their trash and separating items, it's actually not that simple, as this reporter found out while walking through a Portland supermarket.
It seems like everybody's buying lettuce in a box now. Is this recyclable?
In this state, none of this is recyclable.
Okay, what about all of these? This is everywhere in every supermarket.
In Oregon, again, there are no curbside programs that would accept any of these tubs.
Yeah, that is shocking, because think of what that means. The stuff that we all routinely buy at the supermarket, assuming, understandably, it will get recycled, is in many cases not. And that is despite the impression that we might have taken from mascots like Totes My Goats, whose name I'm honestly uncomfortable even uttering out loud, just on the off chance that he's like Beetlejuice and saying Totes My Goats 3 times somehow summons him into, oh shit! How the hell did you get in here? This is a COVID compliant set, you can't be here! Wait, you got vaccinated? How the fuck are you eligible for the vaccine?
Hypertension, Sean.
Oh, bullshit. You know what? I don't care. You need to get out of here. Get out of here. You're so much worse in person, Totes. You look like a furry who can't commit. Get out of here! The fact is, a huge amount of the plastic surrounding us isn't recycled.
Wait, so I nailed the voice down. Okay, good.
Because it's not really recyclable. And that means that it ends up in landfills or burnt or in the ocean, where it breaks down into microplastics, gets eaten by fish, and can end up inside us.
Plastic in the ocean has a tendency to break down into ever smaller pieces, and these tiny pieces then get taken up even lower down in the food chain. So we know that it ends up on our dinner plates. There is plastic in your food.
Easy to get the voice down when you watch it before the stream. Yeah. I knew that the voice was coming, which is why months ago I decided to use that same voice on my character in No Pixel RP.
Plastic in your sea salt, and there is plastic coming out of your tab.
It's true. A recent study even estimated that an average person globally could be ingesting about a credit card's worth of plastic into their system every week. Which kind of explains Capital One's new slogan, "What's in your stomach?" Good question, Mr. Jackson, because apparently it's 1.5% cashback, a few thousand free airline miles, and a fucking shitload of plastic. So how is it that tons of plastic...
This is why I just don't eat seafood. Owned.
...we assume is getting recycled can instead sometimes end up inside of us? Well, that is what this story is about. It's about why so little plastic gets recycled, the harm that can do, and how the plastics industry has managed to convince us all that it's our fault. And let's start with some history. As plastic production began to grow in the 1950s, so did plastic waste, and therefore public backlash. By the 60s and 70s, organisations began drawing attention to all the packaging waste littering the landscape through ads like this one.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
Now,
God.
You might have seen that ad before. It really touched people's heartstrings, because apparently the worst thing white people ever did to America's indigenous populations was litter on the freeway. But there are a few misleading things about it. First, that man wasn't actually Native American. He was an Italian-American actor who played them for a living.
Hey, what do you mean? Hey, Italian people are fucking also, indigenous. All right, how you doing?
While it's by no means the first time someone of Italian descent inserted themselves into a Native American narrative without asking, I guess at least this time, no one named a holiday after him. But more to the point, the organisation that produced that ad, Keep America Beautiful, was funded in part by a plastics industry trade group and composed of leading beverage and packaging corporations, which might seem odd until you realise that the underlying message there is it's up to you, the consumer, to stop pollution. And that has been a major through line in the recycling movement, a movement often bankrolled by companies who wanted to drill home the message that it is your responsibility to deal with the environmental impact of their product.
Oh shit, this episode is gonna be fucking awesome if he actually talks about how this is literally a manufactured, this is really literally consent manufactured by big corporations that have made it seem like it's the individual's responsibility to save the planet rather than actual regulation around the way that many of the top polluters fucking destroy the world and increase their carbon footprints. Very good. Maybe let us watch the vid and find out. People come here and listen to me describe these issues over and over and over and over and over again throughout the course of my entire career on Twitch. And then they are surprised when John Oliver repeats those exact same talking points, and I pause before I finish the John Oliver episode. Well, I mean, go watch it on your own then, if that's what you want. Just go watch it on your own. Anyway.
And nowhere is this co-opting of environmentalism clearer than with that.
Also, on that note, you know what? It's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 60-second ad break. You already know I'm gonna fucking run an ad right now, and I'm gonna keep watching the video right now. If you no longer want to see the ads, if you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free, because it is top of the fucking hour right now, bruv. Here is the fucking ad now, all right? There you go. There you fucking go.
Recycling symbol that you find on plastic products that you buy. The famous chasing arrows. They are on everything, and the numbers inside them are pretty important because they represent what type of plastic it is.
Number 1 stands for PET. Think water and soda bottles. Number 2 is HDPE, often used as packaging for detergent and shampoo. Then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and wild card number 7, which stands for other, meaning everything else.
Right. Number 7 is basically the catch-all for everything else. In the same way that one drawer in your kitchen is a catch-all for everything else. Yeah, there's ketchup packets in there, but also rubber bands, the instructions to an immersion blender you lost a year ago, and a post-it note with just a phone number on it and no indication who it belongs to. Call that number now! I dare you! But crucially, very few of those 7 types of plastic are commonly recyclable. Certain types of number 1 and 2 plastics, things like soda and laundry detergent bottles, do get recycled, although, depending on where you live, certain other types, like those lettuce tubs you saw earlier, may not. And when it comes to plastics numbers 3 through 7, which can be things like plastic bags, cups, or pouches, we have the capacity to recycle less than 5% of it. So out of these 7 numbers, only 2 are really much good. And that is a pretty bad ratio for a group of 7. Ideally, you'd want to balance a little more like BTS. There's not a weak link in that unbreakable chain of heartthrobs. With so many people on stage, you would understand if sometimes Jimin only gave 50%, but he doesn't. He beats up the dance floor every night like he just caught it robbing his house.
Oh my God. He's just like, dude, literally every fucking hyper-targeted group on the internet, from furries to now BTS, he's just gonna hit every fucking... He's hitting every target market, dude.
And there are a number of reasons why certain plastics don't get recycled. Some are complex mixes of different resins, making recycling them difficult. Other times there are practical obstacles, that the plastic is contaminated or difficult to sort. And then there are economic reasons. Sometimes there is no market for certain types of plastic. And right now, it's actually cheaper for companies to make virgin plastic than for them to recycle it. But the thing is, despite knowing that most plastics can't be recycled, the industry lobbied state legislatures to pass laws requiring that chasing arrow symbol to be placed on all of their containers, regardless of whether they could actually be recycled or not. Manufacturers and companies like Coca-Cola also lobbied local governments to invest in curbside recycling programs, even though, behind closed doors, one industry insider acknowledged as far back as 1974 that there is serious doubt that recycling plastic can ever be made viable on an economic basis. And honestly, it wasn't all that difficult for them to convince us that all their waste is recyclable because we so badly want to believe it. Lies go down easier when you want them to be true. In fact, our desire for things to be recycled is so strong that people who work in the industry even have a special term for it.
A lot of things really aren't recyclable, no matter how much we want them to be. People just want to throw, everything in and, they wish it was recycling, so we call it wish cycling. Here's some wish cycling for you. Here's an umbrella. I wish it was recyclable. It's not.
Now, first off, he's right that umbrellas are not recyclable, which is a pity, as the average American goes through roughly 4,000 of them a year. I've already somehow lost 12 so far this year, and it doesn't even rain in this void. And secondly, the term wish cycling is just too good to be wasted on garbage. Wish cycling sounds like a spin class taught by a unicorn, or the sewage
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
treatment system at Hogwarts. And this, children, is where we wish cycle all your collected urine into this delicious butterbeer. Oh, it's fine. Calm down. It's magic. Stop crying. It's fine. But wish cycling can end up doing real harm because at best, non-recyclable items can be a hassle to remove. Plants often have to stop machines to cut out all of the plastic bags that people desperately want to think that they can handle. And at worst, they can end up contaminating loads of plastics that could otherwise be recycled. So the false impression that we've all been given that all the plastics we're putting into the recycling are being recycled is very much not the case. And for a few blissful decades, America and most of the world didn't really worry about this because we simply shipped much of the lower quality plastic waste we couldn't use in bulk to China. At one point, roughly 70% of the world's plastic waste went there. But that stopped in 2018 when China flat out banned the import of most plastics. And since then, much of our waste has been left to either pile up in domestic recycling plants with no one to buy it, or shipped out to other countries in Asia where it can get dropped into landfills like this one in Malaysia.
Look at how big this is. Just take a look. Look how far it goes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
This is just one dump. One dump. A vast field of plastic 2 stories high. See if we can look on the back here. Marysville, Ohio. This is from Italy. Pennsylvania, New York. Look, Walmart bag.
Yeah, a lot of our plastic just ends up sitting in giant landfills on the other side of the world. So I guess Katy Perry's question, do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again, should really be, do you ever feel like a plastic Walmart bag drowning in 2 stories of society's unmitigated filth? And since you're asking, yeah, Katy, I do. All the...
You stated the same point over 2 years ago?
From Southern...
Wait, where is the talking point? Oh, yeah. I talked about wish cycling in this interview, in this debate. But I don't know if you have the talking point, if you have the time for it.
Time. And the problem is, those countries don't necessarily have the capabilities to deal with their own plastic waste, let alone millions of tons of ours, which can have serious consequences for the health and safety of people who live there. In Malaysia, some operations are illegally incinerating lots of plastic waste. And just listen to this community activist describing what it's like to live nearby.
The air pollution become very serious in my village. The burning caused a lot of respiratory disease problem to our people, especially our children. And our elderly who has this problem of repeating asthma, repeating coughing also.
That's terrible. And I have to say, there is just no way that the people responsible for burning that waste don't know the fumes are toxic. When you smell burning plastic, you don't think, ooh, that smells great. Is someone baking cookies? You think, my nose seems to be dying and it's taking my brain down with it. Now, the good news is more than 180 countries agreed last year to place strict limits on exports of plastic waste from richer countries to poorer ones. The bad news is that the United States is one of the few countries in the world that didn't ratify that global ban. And the thing is, when plastic isn't burned, it can end up in landfills or in the environment. Across the world, more than 8 million tons end up in our oceans every year. There is famously even a swirling garbage patch of microplastic waste in the Pacific Ocean, spread out over an area that's bigger than France, Germany and Spain combined. And by 2050, the ocean is expected to contain, by weight, more plastics than fish. That is all fish. That includes the red snapper, salmon, and of course, the blobfish, the only fish with a face that screams, I would be voiced by Richard Kind in a Pixar movie, and he'd absolutely nail it. Isn't that right, blobfish?
Blobfishes are so nasty, dude.
Oh, absolutely, John, 100%. I mean, look at me. I'm a blobfish. I'm Slurp the blobfish.
Of course you're called Slurp.
Motherfucker looks like Ted Cruz, bro.
That is some spot-on casting right there.
Well, I'd only be a supporting character.
Right.
But look, with this face, you know damn well I'm gonna steal the show.
I know you will, Slurp.
I would provide comic relief throughout a very fun, yet intermittently touching film. And word hat...
That's an exploded blobfish? They don't actually look like that? What do they look like normally? Ugh. Oh, okay. I see how it is. That's dead. Only after they die do they look like that. This is what they look like when they're alive, huh? Still nasty. They live deep in the ocean, so they look different due to pressure differential. Stop insulting the blobfish like that. They don't deserve to be compared. 2450 debate timestamp in the debate video. This guy is like joking, right? I don't know if this is. Oh, 2450. Never mind. He's not joking.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
started it. Keep crying about my
respect
uncle,
is
dude.
important.
It's nice.
All right. It's nice. I wish I had a family that can give me a job with any experience whatsoever. That would be lovely.
No, you're right. At least I don't have to then go work with racists and try to act like voting for them is a better idea.
All right.
That's definitely not the recyclable talking point.
I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if that would be pushing the first step back. We talk about the individuals that.
Why'd you make that up? I talk about the straw. I talk about straws and how, like, it's wishful thinking that, like, a straw ban or any sort of, like, consumer side activism is going to mitigate some of the problems with climate change. But it doesn't matter. Like, people are just debating because they want, I don't know, 1007, is that?
Do you like the plastic straw ban?
No, I don't.
Why don't you like it?
Because the straws melt in your glass, so I don't like it.
No,
but I'm
okay, hold on. But there's also a real tangible effect on the environment. It's only 0.09% of the pollution, the plastic pollution in the ocean. So it's actually a silly policy. I agree. The reason why I think that that's a silly policy is because it helps us feel like we're actually doing something positive to save the environment when when the top 100 companies on this planet are responsible for 71% of the emissions, okay? Like, we need structural changes. You substituting your plastic straw for a paper straw is not going to mitigate the disasters, the ecological disasters that are coming. You have to have a serious structural change. So Bernie Sanders giving $1 million or however much money he has is not going to change anything. You can't. Bernie Sanders.
Who's that buff guy talking? I like him. Why is he gawking at you like that? Like you're not making any sense? Because that's the only way the conservatives can argue is like if they have no counter argument, then they have to like vilify your position and make it seem like you're being stupid.
That's it. There's going to be at least 2 sequels. And John, entree new.
Yes.
I die at the end of the 3rd one. But don't worry, I got profit participation.
Good for you, Slurp. Get that money. And frustratingly, the plastic industry's response to all the damage you've seen has been to make a big show of tiny improvements and then revert to what they've always done, which is heavily push the idea that if we as consumers simply tried hard enough, we could make our plastic problem go away. Keep America Beautiful, the people behind that fake Native American ad, is still around, making dumb commercials like this one, where a bottle goes on a long, inspiring journey to a recycling bin and ends up fulfilling its dream of becoming a bench. And if bottles were sentient, I would genuinely be surprised if their biggest dream was, I wish old people would play chess while sitting on my face. But I will say, at least they're being honest there, that the bottle became a bench and then nothing else, because the truth is only about 2% of all plastic winds up in a so-called closed loop system. That's where it becomes the thing that originally was. In other words, a bottle getting recycled and becoming a bottle again. Instead, most recycled plastic gets downcycled to become a carpet or a fleece sweatshirt or indeed a bench. And then it cannot be recycled again. And yet, despite this fact, companies like this Nestle water division have gone out of their way to make ads indicating that if we simply did our part, plastics could be put into continuous reuse. Like in this ad from 2012.
Nature has a biological metabolism where one thing's waste becomes another thing's food. So if I look at something like a plastic bottle, I don't see waste. I see a nutrient.
This is raw material?
So if this is raw material, people need to start thinking about it that way.
It could come back as a bottle, of course.
I mean, Nestle is like cartoonishly evil.
We only have to make this virgin material one time, and the rest of it's up to you. We get the bottle back, we'll make this bottle out of...
It's fucking bullshit.
It's
literally not true.
Again.
Well, that sounds amazing.
Oh, there's an active shooter in Boulder, Colorado? Okay, never mind. We should drop everything and go look at some live streams of an active shooting occurring right now. And I should do some breaking news coverage on an active shooting happening at the moment. No, we're going to continue with this, and I will give you some details eventually once there's more information, okay?
Unfortunately, what that executive board Ken Doll is suggesting there is complete bullshit. Because that company doesn't, in fact, have to make virgin plastic just one time if you simply give your bottle back. And the reason that we know that is, even 8 years after that aired, only 20% of the plastic they use was recycled, meaning 80% was from virgin material. So that is the most obvious overstatement in an ad since this one for Game Boy in the 90s that claimed it was more fun than a ferret down your trousers. That ad is real. And I'm sorry, Mario, but no, you're not more fun. Not if the ferret knows what it's doing. And the crazy thing is, that
I was worried that like he was gonna do some fucked up shit. He didn't.
company actually has a better track record than many other brands when it comes to this. That is how bad things are. Take Coca-Cola. Brand audits of plastic waste collected at cleanup have consistently found Coke products as the #1 top global polluter, which is damning. And probably why Coke has been so anxious to make splashy promises that we all so badly want to hear, like pledging to use at least 50% recycled material in their packaging by 2030, which does sound really good. The problem is, Coke has been making and breaking promises like that for decades. Over the years, they've repeatedly, loudly launched big recycled plastic initiatives that they then quietly abandoned with no one really noticing. In 2009, they announced plans to source 25% of their plastic from recycled material by 2015, except you'll notice that it's now 6 years past that deadline and their current proportion is just 10%. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, by 2030, the main thing Coke is recycling is the same bullshit promises that it's been making for years now. And look, on a personal level, I know this can feel demoralizing because it can seem that recycling is pointless, but it's important to know that it's not. We should absolutely keep recycling paper, cardboard, and aluminum, and even recycling plastic, while it might be 90% more pointless than you assumed, can still have modest environmental benefits, although we should absolutely do it more mindfully. You should check with your local municipality to see what types of plastic they accept and then only recycle those. Otherwise, remember, you could end up contaminating usable materials. And as a good rule, definitely don't wish cycle things like umbrellas, because there is a non-zero chance that you're going to end up angering totes my goats. Oh shit, no, absolutely not. No, leave this place. No! But more importantly, our personal behavior is not the main culprit here, despite what the plastics industry has spent decades and millions of dollars trying to convince us. So yes, we shouldn't be using single-use plastics like grocery bags or takeout containers. Reducing that would make a huge difference, as nearly half of the plastic waste generated globally in 2015 was plastic packaging, most of it single-use. But it can be hard on an individual level to end their use. A better move would be to implement smart, thoughtful, targeted bans that force the introduction of alternatives. And to their credit, many cities have banned single-use plastic bags. Unfortunately, the industry has fought those bans hard, even lobbying some state legislatures to the point that 18 states now have preemptive laws stopping local regulation, which is a bit weird. I guess those states just have a hard-on for plastic bags, not seen since that creepy kid from American Beauty. The kid loved bags. So what can we really do here? Well, the real behavior change has to come from plastics manufacturers themselves. Without that, nothing significant is going to happen. We have to make them internalize the costs of the pollution that they are creating. And there is a way to do this through a concept called extended producer responsibility, or the polluter pays principle. The idea is to create laws that essentially shift responsibility and the costs of collection from the public sector and all of us to the actual producers of the plastic waste. EPR laws could, among other things, force companies to either create the infrastructure and markets to recycle the products they make, or force them to stop making them altogether. The US is one of the only developed countries on Earth without a national EPR law addressing packaging, because of course it is. But on the positive side here, several states are currently considering EPR laws, and there was even a national law introduced in the last Congress. It went nowhere, but it will soon be introduced again, and we are going to need some version of an EPR law to pass, and soon, because this problem is only getting worse. Plastic production is expected to...
Yeah, watch like conservatives. I'm calling it. If I'm a conservative, this is what I say. Libtards want everyone to suck down on them paper straws. That's what they want. They want everything to be paper. They're in the pocket of big paper. They hate plastics. Plastics make the world go round. Why do I care about Indonesian landfills? Okay. You know, fuck them people in Malaysia. Yeah, what I care about is America's backyard, brother. And America is fine. There you go. They want you to suck down on a paper straw. You know how much you hate paper straws? Everything. Imagine everything's going to be paper.
Triple by 2050. And it is obvious that
libtards want to cancel culture everything. Now they want to cancel culture plastics, brother.
Meaningful change is only going to come through being able to force this very powerful industry to do things that it has shown for half a century it has absolutely no interest in doing. We have to make them change. And if not for our sake, or the sake of future generations, let's at least do it for all the fish.
Come back in like, you know, whenever they actually introduce this bill, we will come back to this video, okay? And I will say, oh, I said it like 6 months ago, just like the Dr. Seuss thing. Like, just, you know, expect it, okay?
Who are about to be outnumbered by plastic in the ocean.
Just like me! Ain't that right, John?
Exactly, Slurp. Just like you. That's our show. Thanks so much for watching. We're off next week.
Anyway, plastic is not part of you. Why do you hate Americans? Hold on, YouTube connoisseur. There's a vaccine jubilee video that we want.
Before we start this video, we just want to...
Jesus Christ.
That
here's Steven Crowder. You're returning to YouTube.
Allows for meritocracy. That's what you mean.
Right.
Which now
Yeah.
you're complaining about. I remember when he was talking about the tea party. He's like, I don't understand why these teabaggers are so racist. Okay. And it's like, oh, well, so there you go. Now you're complaining about the fact that everything
This audio is so bad.
is seen through the lens of race. You dismissed an entire group of people. An ideology of people, the Tea Party, which, by the way, Rick Santelli, the rant was about taxation without representation. The idea was, listen, we're now increasing taxes. The deficit is a problem. We have wars that aren't really even being approved, right? This is the issue. So Tea Party was about limited government. They left places cleaner than they found them. And you said, I don't understand, dismissing them entirely through some vulgar sexual innuendo, why these tea baggers, and you wonder, that'd be like Robert Byrd with a hood outside a 60 civil rights protest saying, what's eating the spooks? Like you'd think.
Right. Well, he's only 13 years behind, Stephen. So I think in 13 years, what he'll come back and say is actually Donald Trump's vaccine rollout plan. I think we're using like 85% of his original plan anyway. So maybe Biden didn't do a
And
whole
just to
lot.
be clear, when I do an impression of Robert Byrd saying spooks, that is very soft. Google Robert Byrd, fourth in line for the presidency under Barack Obama. If the wrong planes went down, Robert Byrd, N-word. This guy wasn't just in the Klan. He had Klan dental and a company car, okay? He had a 401k for recruiting and lynching. So
401k.
Yes, 401k.
Well, and he...
So I don't get it. Like, does he hate? Why he acts like he's like anti-Robert Byrd,
Democrat,
when like low key.
Correct. I'm just making sure I understand.
They all were.
Party affiliation.
Details, baby, details.
Usually
we go
Klansmen
macro.
are Democratic.
We would think.
That's kind of
They
true,
take a
right?
vote as to where they burn the cross. So this Don Lemon. Come on.
Oh God, I can never say Don Lemon ever again. Reacting to the comments that Don Lemon made saying Jesus was not white, Crowder says Jesus probably looked more like a hijacker.
He should pronounce it that way.
I am just walking in. It's like tonight on.
Oh God, oh my God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. He said Don Lemon just like I do. Oh no.
Don Lemon.
Hey.
So Don Lemon urged people to hang a picture. He said you need to hang a picture of talking to white Americans because everything is racial now. Picture of black Jesus to be more realistic about
I already
God.
got one.
You know what? Here's a clip.
We also have to start being realistic about God and the Bible. And if you are a person of faith in this country, and we know America is built on faith and religious freedom, then we have to, I think, a good way of starting is to present the true identity of Jesus, and that is as a black or a brown person, rather than someone who looks like a white hippie from Sweden or Norway. And I think we should start with a true depiction of what Jesus looked like and put that in your home. Either a black Jesus or a brown Jesus, because we knew Jesus looked more like a Muslim or someone who was dark rather than someone who was blonde a blonde-looking carpenter.
Well, I don't know, but he looked more like a Jew.
Yeah. He
But-
looks
say
more
that.
like Dustin Hoffman than Ted McGinley.
Most likely. But I tell you what,
That would be the
Don
attitude
Lemon, Black Jesus, done. We got you, B.
Covered. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Not a
Oh, come on, dude. Oh, that's just cruel for the sake of being fucking, like, that's just literally just like cruel for the sake of being cruel. It's like, haha, black people are like this. Oh my God, that's fucking gross, dude. Oh, they're like, that gave me physical cringe, dude. That actually was, what? More like a Jew? Can you break down the looks like a Jew statement though? Like, what the fuck? I mean, Jesus was Jewish. I think that's what he was trying to say. Even though he said it in like the dumbest way possible.
in this courtroom.
Fantastic.
Good. I'm going to be apologizing
Yeah, it was George
again to my
Floyd.
friends
Yeah.
in Detroit.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Crying out loud.
heavens.
I understand this too.
That's
I
a real
understand the
photo.
point that he's making. First off, I don't know what he talks about Swedish hippie.
Yeah,
and
blonde? I don't know where he gets
I'm not
blonde
racist.
from.
I don't like the Swedes, and I don't like the Czech. I don't like the Swedes because they cheap shot you in hockey, and I don't like the Czech because nobody likes the Czech. Outside of that, it's fair game for everybody. But Jesus probably looked more. He probably looked more like a hijacker. He did not look like Mos Def.
He was probably
A little bit of a
4'8".
Yeah.
Easy. Darker skin, I'll give
Yeah.
you that. But who played him on Black Jesus, the show? Was it Charlie Murphy?
Was it?
Before he passed?
I don't know.
Maybe it was Terry Crews. I forget who played him on that show.
By the way, you know the most accurate biopic of Jesus that there's been. Just like.
Well, he's talking about migrants staying in hotels, crowded coasts. At least they won't need.
Is it as simple as a wall? Is it as simple as a wall and booting people who are here illegally? What would you do? And I think that Donald Trump was on the right path.
Yeah.
And, of course, Joe Biden, I would believe, is on the wrong one. We have some numbers to reflect that. But right now, former Vice President Joe Biden is spending $86 million on migrant hotel rooms.
What did I tell you? I told you they were going to fucking... When Joe Biden inevitably utilizes the empty hotels, which they should, which is a very smart way to deal with the overflow facility problem, right? What did I tell you? I told you that fucking they were gonna say, oh, they're putting them illegals in hotels, like they're
So this
doing
is
it.
something in-
Quotation.
Yeah. This is
Heavy quotations.
Right. Heavy quotation.
I don't understand why motherfuckers are like, there's an active shooting in Boulder going on right now. Like, what do you want me to do, bro? Go and stop it? Like, I got it, but like, I can offer zero fucking adequate coverage to an active shooter situation in Boulder, Colorado, currently.
At least they won't need maids.
Right.
Hold on, let me go fix
Well, really,
it, dude.
I would imagine it's like Lord of the Flies. There will be a pecking order where some of them will become maids.
That's true.
That's how it will work. So, listen, it's the 80-20 rule. That being said, they've partnered with some hotels, and the new ad campaigns are not going over well with audiences.
Here at Motel 16 per room, we care about you. That's why we offer the highest quality care at the most affordable prices. Comfortable, safe. It's a place where you can have it all.
What the
Maybe-
fuck? Wait, hold on. I'm worried that there's gonna be some fucked up shit in here.
Maybe find a friend or two along the way. Motel 16 per room. We'll leave the flashlight on for you.
Not a black light.
Nope.
Don't run that.
You don't want that.
No.
You're a cage away from home.
You're a cage away from home. I like the creature comforts. Also, I have a creature that I put in the cage and release only when there's a rival gang member. He's very scary.
Yeah, he has many face tattoos that say the number 13.
I feed him puppies and small people so that he gets a taste for it. Yeah.
Hey, Joe Biden, here's an idea. $86 million more for border security. How about that? Let's stop the problem.
Well, tomato.
That's not a problem.
By the
Oh,
way, what's
right.
that? What's a tomato? Is that a nightshade? I'm not sure.
I guess it's like, since Rush Limbaugh's fucking dead now, Steven Crowder is basically trying to do as much like racist boomer jokes as he possibly can fit into a fucking hour. Like, that's his overall goal now, is just like, how many fucking racist jokes can I make? Also, good news, Rush Limbaugh's dead. So, give a little bit of comfort to yourself. While before we get to like the LSF stuff, here is another fucking incredible Jubilee video where they are going to be platforming some psychopathic anti-vaxxers, I guess. Poggers. This is going to be a good one, boys. Buckle up, okay?
And acknowledge that this is obviously a very sensitive topic, especially coming out of what's been an incredibly difficult year battling the coronavirus pandemic. But as vaccines are starting to roll out, this is also a very real and current conversation that we're seeing happen within our communities and all around the country. So our goal with this video was to just earnestly portray various perspectives that we were hearing, and not necessarily that we condone these perspectives, but to understand why people are feeling the way they might be. As always, please seek out experts as you're making your own decisions.
Bro, why is he not doing, if you're going to do a fucking different perspectives coverage, you should absolutely be like, literally, anti-vaxxers are fucking crazy. Sorry, I'm not going to, you know, play into the misinformation. There is no both sides of this argument. We're going to show you what the other side's arguments are, but they're fucking nuts.
Decisions, and above all else, we want to encourage you to see each other's humanity and feel more empathy.
Okay. Like, why? Why is everyone in this video tested for COVID-19 prior to filming? If you're going to say that, then you should also literally admit that, like, wait, hold on. There's got to be more info on vaccines, right? I mean, that's it? Come on, dude. They have to literally not show the anti-vax position as like as a legitimate point of view. They have to say there are some all the way down here. There are some resources, guys. They should have just went balls to the wall and been like, you know, we didn't even test people for COVID-19 because that's fake too. Fuck it, dude. Just go all the way. Go all the way, baby. Go all the fucking way, baby.
Over the past year, I've been integrally involved in treating COVID-19 patients in the ICU as I'm a critical care physician. I'd never seen a disease like this in my 20 years of experience. This virus kills you slowly, methodically, and without mercy.
I'm a registered nurse, and I think the COVID vaccine is very...
I love that they're going to put like fucking doctors and people who have seen like the worst of the worst in regards to COVID against like, you know, Crystal Mommy 69. Hey, I'm Crystal Mommy 69. I haven't seen the video yet, but I assume the counter is going to be like fucking chiropractors and Crystal Mommy 69 being like, well, you're a doctor. Well, guess what? Doctors are responsible for my son having autism from the original vaccine that they got for whatever the fuck when they were a child. So who's to blame here, doctor?
Very important because it prevents infection, and not just for us and for our families.
I did my research.
We've all been at home for the better part of a year, and we have to make some tough decisions about our health and how we're going to interact with each other in the future.
Why am I skeptical? Well, there's been a lot of misinformation. This COVID thing has been very political. I'm not...
Bro, every anti-vaxxer is like a brand, okay? Like, I feel like at this stage, if you're like a right-wing reactionary and you don't have a brand around you being a right-wing reactionary, like, why do you even promote your point of view? Like, my dude this is a clout shark, okay? Through and fucking through. Sorry.
Not anti-vaccination. I'm just more skeptical about the COVID vaccination.
I feel like it's not safe yet. There hasn't been enough testing done on this vaccine, and I don't think that it's a one-size-fits-all.
I'm not for the COVID vaccine because the evidence doesn't add up to that being necessary in order to survive. There's only been one side of the story told, and it's been a side of death and sadness and depression, and I don't believe that's the whole truth.
Yeah, what about all the people that survived getting COVID is a fucking incredible argument, dude.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a registered nurse for 2 years, and I'm excited to be here and extremely nervous.
My name is Thomas Yadigar. I'm a critical care physician, and I supervise a team of 20 physicians. And on a normal day, we take care of about 120 patients in the hospital and about 40 to 50 patients in the ICU.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I am a teacher. I've been teaching for 16 years, and I'm just very excited to be here.
Hi, my name's Siaka Massaquoi, and just a individual that loves this life and wants to just see the best for everybody in it.
Hello, my name is Percy. I'm an actor and podcaster, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I am a stay-at-home mom. I have a 4-year-old. I'm definitely not here to change anyone.
Bro, they hit literally the target audiences. Like, they hit the crystal mom audience that, like, turned QAnon after fucking COVID. They hit the fucking grifter guy who's like, yeah, I'm a podcaster trying to build my own brand, hey, on the come up guy. And then the other guy who's like spiritualist, I'm an individual who wants the best for people. Like, let's be real, the only person that they didn't have is the fucking white Republican Karen from, Minnesota, who's like, it's actually, this is the same as Jim Crow laws. Like, that's the only person that they didn't fucking add to the equation here.
Anyone's mind, but just to share my own personal experience and my views on things.
Can I please have my pro-COVID vaccine folks on the left and my skeptics on the right? The first prompt is, COVID-19 scares me. Please come forward if you agree with the statement.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so for me, I have asthma. I was born with it, which is why I keep myself isolated. I just don't want to put myself in a position where I got to call my mom and say, hey, come to California. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, for me, COVID with family members, friends who have gotten sick, friends who have passed away. I'm just very concerned for my parents, my aunts, my cousins, everybody,
Yeah.
so including myself.
Right.
I actually work with COVID patients since the very beginning, so I'm also scared that I can contact from my patients and I can give it to my parents.
I think the thing that scares me most about COVID is that it is so unpredictable.
Oh, dude, my favorite type of person in the chat. Let everyone in. We're the only country in the world that would do that. Facts. Let's double our population. Like, dude, imagine being this sad, this fucking pathetic, and just like constantly spamming in the chat over and over again. Like, oh God, you live such a sad existence, dude. There you go. I fucking read your comments. I acknowledged you. I'm not even gonna ban you because you're so pathetic that you make things a lot funnier by being in here. Okay. Left or right whack jobs, like you are an actual danger to the country. You believe you're so right about everything and you're actually fairly dumb, and Twitch fits you surrounded by narcissists. You gotta be one of the biggest left-wing shill on Twitch. Yeah, I am the biggest left-wing shill on Twitch. Sucks to suck, baby.
Yeah.
A year ago when this started, the first patient in LA County came to our hospital. 13 people that were on a ski trip in Italy. And when I walked into the room to talk to him about it, what he told me kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah.
7 of them ended up getting hospitalized. 2 of them were on a respirator, were on blood pressure medicines, on ECMO, fighting for their lives. And these are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. That right off the bat caused me to call all my relatives and tell them, stay the hell home, be careful, hunker down. Despite being in cameras, I'm actually intensely private.
I gotta pee, I'll be back.
It's not something that I'm comfortable with. But I started posting things on Facebook to alert people to the threats of what was coming our way, because this is no ordinary virus.
Okay, can we please have our disagreeers come and join us?
I thought I was going to be the only one.
I guess I would say it doesn't scare me in the same manner as I've heard from you guys, because I had it. I got it back in January before it was cool.
Move away.
Yeah, I'm good now, right? My 74-year-old mom who came to visit had it, my 6-year-old godson, my 3-year-old godson, my 40-year-old best friend, 32-year-old roommate. The kids went through like this. My mom, 11 days. It was weird for her, but she's healthy as hell. you know, and that's my own personal story. And then I have not changed my lifestyle since this thing started. If anything, I've gone out more. I've been going to rallies since June, and I've been around multiple people of all ages, consistently hugged, hung out with every Saturday for 6-7 months, nothing. But yet I'm only being told one side of the story.
Well, for me, it's not really a fear because I grew up undocumented. So there's a lot of other things that I grew up fearing, cops being one of those. And COVID, you know, it got my grandmother, it got my aunt, my uncle. My aunt and uncle did pass away in Mexico. It got a handful of my friends. But to say that I'm afraid of it and to like change my life and stay home and then feed that to my 4-year-old, that's not the way that I have chosen to live, because I do agree that fear in itself can cause so much stress. It can lower your immune system, you know, and it can just put your mind in such a state of panic and trauma that I feel like...
Yeah, the positive affirmations is how you actually defeat COVID, by thinking about positive affirmations and rubbing my crystal quartz every day. The other guy said what? I was peeing. I heard like part of it.
My 74-year-old mom who came to visit had it.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm good now, right? My 74-year-old mom who came to visit.
He said he got COVID before it was cool? Is that what he said?
Had it. My 6-year-old godson, my 3-year-old godson, my 40-year-old best friend, 32-year-old roommate. The kids went through like this. My mom, 11 days. It was weird for her, but she's healthy as hell. You know, and that's my own personal story. And then I have not changed my lifestyle since this thing started. If anything, I've gone out more. I've been going to rallies since June.
I feel like conservatism is diagnosable as a problem. Like, it's just, like, there's no other way to look at this than I've been going to rallies more frequently.
And I've been around multiple people of all ages, consistently hugged, hung out with every Saturday for 6-7 months, nothing. But yet I'm only being told one side of the story.
Well, for me, it's not really a fear because I grew up undocumented. So there's a lot of other things that I grew up fearing, cops being one of those. And COVID, you know, it got my grandmother, it got my aunt, my uncle. My aunt and uncle did pass away in Mexico. It got a handful of my friends. But to say that I'm afraid of it and to like change my life and stay home and then feed that to my 4-year-old, that's not the way that I have chosen to live, because I do agree that fear in itself can cause so much stress. It can lower your immune system, you know, and it can just put your mind in such a...
Bro, people literally, I feel like they unironically think that, you know, if you just don't think about COVID, it just doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see it, brother, so it must not exist, you know?
A state of
that
panic
energy
and trauma that I feel like that in itself can be so much more detrimental in the long run.
I think that's my big issue with it, because I just, after this thing, then what? When we're too afraid to come up to strangers.
Yeah.
Like, how are we supposed to get through
I
our
think
stuff?
You should be aware. I don't think it's ever good to, you know, to cause mass fear on the population. But I think, you know, knowledge is power.
Yep.
So you have to be able to understand what's...
The doctor's like, I've seen people die in the ICU away from their friends and family. And on the other hand, you have Crystal Mommy who's like, well, actually, using the power of positive affirmations, I've decided to completely eradicate the fear from COVID. If I don't see it, it does not exist. Like, oh, okay. I guess all the fucking people that I treated that literally died because they couldn't fucking breathe, okay? Even with a respirator shoved down their goddamn throats. Well, you know, fuck those people with a ventilator shoved down their throats. So, you know, fuck those people. They should have been able to manifest the cure.
What's going on around you and adapt around you.
What I've had to do with my students is to make them aware of it being okay. Have you gone outside today? Did you go get some fresh air? Okay, let's do some exercise. Do a plank competition in the house, at least something that's active, because they are so recluse. And that's the part that is concerning.
Yeah, within the first few weeks, one of my doctors asked me to see a patient. She'd been into the emergency room 3 times within a week. She was convinced she had COVID. And she had some of the symptoms. She had chest tightness, shortness of breath. And they were going to do a 4th test. Her 3 previous ones were all negative. So I walked in, and I'm like, do you have any kids? She's like, yeah, I have a 10-month-old, but he's fine, don't worry about him. I'm like, what do you mean he's fine, don't worry about him? She's like, I use Clorox. I just make sure that this virus doesn't come anywhere around. I'm like, what about with your groceries? She's like, my groceries, I use bleach on them. Oh, no. I told her, I'm like, I looked at your CAT scan, you don't have COVID, but you have a chemical pneumonitis.
Yes.
From all this bleach, from all these chemicals that you have introduced, you just put yourself in harm. And I'm like, go home, do what you normally do in terms of cleaning. Wash your hands. Some of the stuff that was coming out in the first few weeks, it lingers in the air for 3 hours. It lasts on surfaces for 3 days. And I'm looking at the TV and I'm telling my
Dude,
wife,
how the fuck do you get that much bleach, introduce that much bleach into your life? Holy shit.
This is nonsense.
Yeah.
What? This is a respiratory virus.
I just feel like it has been blown to a proportion that it doesn't need to be. Yes, be safe, be cautious, but you don't have to run around, bleaching your vegetables. Like, what is that doing? I would just say, like, take it seriously. Don't wait until your mom or your grandmother's in the hospital to say, oh, take COVID seriously, because we've been seeing that all year, and it's not getting us nowhere.
Everyone should get a COVID-19 vaccine. Okay. Come forward if you disagree.
Shot the moon.
I don't think everybody should get it because people who are allergic to vaccines.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking idiotic question. Like, no, why are you guys throwing up question marks? Of course, not everyone should get vaccines. Unironically, though, the people who are fucking legitimately allergic, right? The people who have like legitimate allergies and would die if they got this vaccine or some shit like that, those people should be the biggest pro-vaxxers, right? And the reason for that is because they themselves can't get it, so they must make sure that everyone else gets it so that there's fucking herd immunity. There's herd immunity without them getting it. Because otherwise, they are not protected. That's literally the irony that I see from so many people who are like, well, I'm allergic, I can't take it, so other people shouldn't take it either. It's like, no, you want other people to take it because you legitimately can't take it, and therefore the only way to reach herd immunity is if other people, take the vaccine, please.
Obviously shouldn't get the vaccine, but I feel like I can see how much COVID can affect family members, and I see, like, my grandma actually passed away with COVID. She was in a nursing home, that's how she got it. I feel like herd immunity, I think it could give us back to normal life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting a vaccine is incredibly individual choice. Right. So we all have our own medical history. We all have our own medical experiences, how we reacted to vaccines. That being said, I don't think at this point we're going to eradicate COVID-19 with a vaccine. But that doesn't mean that vaccine's not critically important. And the people who should be getting it, they should get the vaccine. I myself did get the vaccine.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all because, again, everyone's body is so different that what might work for you might kill me and vice versa. And so for me, I feel like that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. I
love that, like, okay, so the argument always is, do you trust nature or modern medicine? Okay? Because you're rolling the dice technically on modern medicine as well, right? So people make the argument, they're like, well, actually, like, if I take the vaccine, what if I have, like, long-term complications or whatever? Bitch, what if you have long-term complications or short-term complications in the form of death if you don't take the vaccine and you get COVID? It's a dice roll either way. I am going to, unfortunately, roll the dice, maybe unfortunately for you, roll the dice on behalf of modern medicine, which has been very fucking good so far, okay? Because I am not a cave person. What the fuck? Because you're literally saying, like, I'll just let COVID do its thing. Like, oh, okay. Like, you just don't know what COVID is going to do to your body, okay? You don't know how it's going to ravage your fucking body. So you're just rolling the dice on that instead of, modern medicine.
Actually developed allergies due to vaccines as a kid, and I would break out in hives. It would last, anywhere between 3 days